weak man is not a good man. A strong man who is capable of violence, but he chooses to not be violent, is
Jesus.
a good man. That kind of thing put me to think that this is the easiest way out. And I'm not going to be quitting like that. Easy way would be that, hey, I tell you what you do and you do it.
You were saying it, and me and probably other people were understanding this the second you said it.
Yep.
And this doesn't happen because in real life this is kind of complicated. It's put in a simple words in here, and you are able to communicate that in simple words, but
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Absolutely not. It's definitely not easy, and it's not easy because life is interesting. It's not a game where there are like, it's not like chess, right? In chess there is like this certain amount of moves you can make, certain amount of things that can happen.
Right.
There's no external, I don't know, a tornado doesn't come in randomly, right? Or the crisis doesn't come in. It's just strategy. You have 10 moves, choose one.
Yep.
Another opponent does a move, you have now additional moves.
Yeah.
And if you're able to like predict the future in that game, it's a closed game in that sense. The rules are closed, right? So, but life is not like that.
That's why they already beautiful.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, I mean that's why this is interesting, and I a lot these days I'm a lot thinking like how to better teach the implementation part, because I think that's something where we are maybe going more deeper and differently, because I want to understand which was before, egg or a chicken, in terms of leadership.
How are you doing on that?
I think I'm actually starting to understand much deeper and much better now how to really explain how to implement this. And I think I'm getting much closer there, because I didn't have the guiding mentor in the beginning. I just had to do it. So trial and error, and we have been doing now, practicing it, trying to implement it in our lives for last whatever, since 2000 and I think 19 is when I read the book. Since that moment, and then it's been just trial and error. And I think I'm starting to get to the point where I actually start to understand what all of this really is, because it happens in layers. In every year,
Yeah.
you think you got something, and then you learn a deeper layer, and then you say, "Oh fuck!"
Because it feels like when you're exposed to this knowledge, and when I was exposed, maybe this is the official start of our conversation today. I'm gonna now try to pronounce your first name and last name.
Sounds
and
good.
if I make a mistake, please please correct me. Remo Ojaste.
Yes.
Is it proper way to say it?
Perfect.
Is my guest here, and I want to do a little introduction. Why are we here? And then I'm gonna ask you to do the same thing. I'm here because I'm impressed with the workshop that I was a part of that you were running, and I just felt that the way you organize this knowledge and your experience, it just made a lot of sense. You know, like that was the first time that I was able to understand everything the second you said it. And the idea is simple, but the implementation of it is crazy difficult. But I felt like I kind of want to try to implement it. So that was a leadership workshop, we can call it, and that's how we met. And then I understood your relationship with Jocko. And since the day we met, I've been thinking about this a lot. And that's why I'm here. That's why we are here. I want to know more. I want to know more about you. Because there's something, there's some mystery, right? In your personality, in your past, and it makes it even more interesting. And those two things that I understood about you when we first interacted, when I was a part of the training that you were running, that you definitely have the knowledge and like the experience background behind it. And then secondly, you as a person have this, you read the book and you are living the book. I think that was something that was really, it's not just a book, you know, there's whole methodology and yeah, and then I don't want to like go into the details because that was really like groundbreaking moment for me. Meeting you and understanding why you're doing what you're doing. So yeah, so that's my motivation for having this, and maybe you can just say a little, you know, stuff about you, and then we can dive into the conversation.
Yeah. So thanks for the intro. And it's always awesome to see that it impacts people. And I believe it really is a game-changing way of thinking. It's definitely, it's simple, but not easy. Like rules of chess is easy, or the how to play the game. But to be grandmaster, it's very hard. So knowing the rules is one thing, but it starts from being aware. But and it takes a lot of practice eventually. So implementation is always hard. But my background, yeah. So I was born in the Soviet era. A few years in, I don't remember anything. Raised up in the 90s here, which was a lot of 360 murders a year in 1.3 million country. I lived in a bubble. I had no idea what was going on, but life was good. Single boy in a family, had grandparents who were hardworking. Both were deported to Siberia. So we come from a lineage of where you felt the occupation and the history what we here have in the Baltics and in Eastern Europe. Then eventually I liked guns. I liked shooting in a computer game. not
at the time, yeah.
Yeah, at the time, right. So that's something what got me thinking towards that. Then eventually I got some friends who asked me to come to the forest. We played some airsoft. Then I figured out that there's a drinking is a thing.
Is a possibility.
Is a possibility. And then I started doing that. Then I stumbled upon poker. I played poker. I started making money, actually. And then I moved out from home because I was able to pretty much maintain my own finances pretty early. And that kind of took me away from that military path. And then eventually I was in university and forgot to sign a paper which then extends my need to go to the military service. And then I had to go to the mandatory service for 1 year. And that kind of changed my life because I didn't want to really go anymore because everything was awesome. I had finances. I had really shitty living standards, I would say. I was overweight a bit. But then going to the conscript service, I kind of started to see that, hey, this is something which I needed in my life, structure and stuff like that. Then I saw that there is a special operations possible unit that just has been created here in Estonia that kind of says that, hey, best of the best or whatever. And I thought, okay, I'm not trying to do a military career. That was not something what I was interested in, but I would be willing to try to see what's the best of the best looking like. Then I went to the selection. I somehow passed the selection. And then the next 8 years I was part of the Estonian Special Operations. Was able to learn a lot. It was a whole learning curve upwards. That's where I got my kind of like foundation for life, I would say, at that time. That's where I got my huge ego at that moment. Then eventually I retired because I had a child born and I wanted to be part of her life. And then I eventually came off. I thought that I'm going to be continuing with playing poker. That's what I started doing. I sold my apartment. I had some bankroll, and I had a child, and that's something which I started to do. So I didn't know how to live in the civilian world because I had no experience really. And then I put myself in a situation where I needed to learn. And I knew how to learn because I was confident. I gained my confidence from the unit, but I didn't know what specifically will work and what's a good strategy or whatever. And then I started looking Joe Rogan, and eventually I saw Jocko Willink, who talked about leadership and Navy SEALs. I actually worked with Navy SEALs as well, and Americans were my main partners in the unit, but I really didn't know about this concept. And then I started digging in the beginning of that, and I started understanding, okay, everything I do here is on me. But I didn't fully grasp it. I just understood that, okay, it makes sense what he's talking about. And when I started hearing him, all of the mistakes I made in the military kind of started running through in my head. I was like, oh my God, how much better things could have been. But I was in a blaming game. I just gained awareness about this idea. And then as I was still blinded with my ego, or at least I wasn't able to adapt correctly, then the relationship broke down, the poker thing, what I did, that didn't work out. So everything fell apart. And then I think in 2019 or something like that, on one evening, I decided to, it was October, so I decided to do Sober October Challenge, which was again inspired by Joe Rogan. And from there on, that was my first book, The Extreme Ownership, because I had watched his videos, but I hadn't read the book. And then I read the book, and pretty much in the first chapter, there was this line, something along the lines that the only true measure of your leadership success is if the team is winning or losing. And then I did an assessment. Is my team winning at the moment or losing? And it was very clear that I was losing, which meant that I'm not successful in it. It doesn't matter that I have the background. It doesn't matter. I'm sucking at this, at life. That's what I understood. And then I pretty much started digging into this. Within that month, I pretty much turned around everything. So that relationship wasn't something which was we didn't save it because that was built on a very wrong foundation. So, but eventually I had to figure out how to continue. Then I ended up in the defense industry, selling tanks in the Middle East. And from there on, it was my first experience in a civilian organization. And in that civilian organization, I really fastly understood that there is absolutely zero difference between what I went through in the military and what is happening in here. And the only difference was that there was no alignment in terms of how we make decisions, how we communicate. So in our unit and in our Estonian Defense Forces, there is a system. And even if you don't have a perfect system, if you have a system, it's already good. It's already better than having no system. Now, what this extreme ownership provided to me was few parts which was missing, which were the ego, description of how ego affects decision making, how emotions do that, and then also the concept of the extreme ownership itself, how you are able to be the owner of your life, and how are you able to actually influence a lot more things than I thought I could. And pretty much from there on, I started implementing in that work environment. Eventually, the whole department where I was working in pretty much got fired. And only I remained. And it was pretty clear why, because I had a totally different attitude comparing to other people. But I had no understanding of sales or nothing. So from there on, I was able to work with the CEO of the company. And that again provided me a really good understanding of how the business world works. So I was able to learn from him. Eventually, a really successful company was sold for, 130 million, which is unprecedented here in Estonia. So really, really, really was able to learn from a lot of business people who were really successful. And then I started seeing that, okay, the principles are just all over the place, same stuff. And then eventually we founded up Combat Ready because there was a phone call from my buddy who co-founded it, and he had a customer who kind of wanted they wanted him to come and talk about military decision-making process. But in reality, the problem statement was that, hey, my team doesn't take ownership or something. And he kind of struggled to put together a presentation. And then he called me because we served together. And then I told it, all right, let's do it. And then next day we founded Combat Ready. And that's where the Combat Ready and the instructor story kind of started. And now we've been doing that for 4 years, and we became the partners of them. That's in itself is our own story where we just implemented the same things.
I want
right?
to know about this story.
Yeah.
I want to know it because this story is amazing, and for a lot of people, I think they need this military, training to just overcome a lot of the things that they had on their mind. I think that training kind of breaks your ego. I think, right? I mean,
it does the both. It breaks it, and it again builds it, because you need to have like everyone in that unit has a huge ego. It's just a matter of how do you manage those huge egos. And maybe the idea in the military is that like you give commands and then all the other big ego people will start just going. No, I would say the special operations is more of like you have 10 CEOs in one team. So imagine how much egos there are and how do you handle that. But they are all like supposed to be the best of the best in their field. And you come together, and then your job is to be like this force multiplier. You are able to actually pull strings, and you know very well. And what you be a master of, you have to be master of leadership. But again, we had our own systems. They were also effective, but they lacked something. And something was how to implement that in life, because it was kind of like the military was for me like I went to the basketball training, and I was playing basketball, and I was really successful in playing basketball. But then you go off the court. There is a break. There is this training time, and now the relationships and all other kind of stuff come into consideration as well. So I wasn't able to kind of transfer any knowledge from my work to the civilian world at all. Nothing. And this book pretty much kind of opened my eyes, like what the hell? Why not use it? And talking about egos, then on the first event, I was told from one of the very senior guys on one of the first 2 months in, I think, he told me that in 1 year, Remo, you have to get 10 years older. And that was a pretty huge blow to my ego.
Did you?
I think it took me 3 years to understand my value in that unit, but to totally be honest, and military life really didn't humble me.
Didn't?
No.
Okay.
What humbled me was life, and what happened after military. The moment where I had to take this book on my hand, that was the most humbling place I have been, and was by that time I was like 30. I think I had like minus 30,000 was my bankroll. The family was split. I had no place to live. I had no money. I had no job. And I would say, at that moment, I was like, okay, you're now 30. You're in the worst position of your life financially in any ways. So, yeah, awesome special forces guy you are. Was kind of the thought process in my head. But I still knew that it doesn't matter. I'm capable of turning it around. I had that confidence in me.
What makes, because the situation you're describing, it's tough.
Yep.
You know? What made you think that this all can be changed? Like there was this idea that everything is still possible, because like you said, that was kind of the lowest moment maybe for you. What made you think that there is still space and you can be who you want to be?
Yeah, I think with me it has always been, and it's not kind of the ideal way. It's not the healthy way, I guess, or whatever. But for me, it's always been I want to kind of I love the Braveheart movies. I love the movies of Mel Gibson where he was kind of always in a situation where I don't know, world did wrong and he had like a really shitty circumstances, but he found his way how to get through this this suckfest and kind of win in a way. So I always considered in my life always that okay, my life has to suck, but I want to prove other people wrong. That this is not going to break me. Like, oh, this is not possible. Hold my beer. That was kind of all the time my kind of thought process. I don't know where it came from, but that's something what I've always had. And then when I was in that hole or in that moment, I think one of the influence also was that one of my best friends, one of my best buddies, when I joined conscript service, he committed suicide, right? So on one evening when I was on a vacation, I got a phone call from my unit, and it was said that, hey, do you know this person? I said yes. Sadly, he committed suicide. Do you know anything about it? And I knew nothing about it. I only knew that he wasn't in the best place, and we hadn't been as close as we were because I was away in trainings and doing the other stuff. So I knew we had to get together like 2 days from that day when I got the phone call. And that kind of thing, I think, influenced me in terms of moving forward, that I'm not going to quit myself regardless of what's going to happen. Because I kind of felt what that looked like, that he kind of decided to give up pretty much, right? Even though it takes a lot of, I would say, power to commit suicide, but that kind of thing put me to think that this is the easiest way out, and I'm not going to be quitting like that. And that was kind of the mindset also in the selection, right? I'm not going to say that I'm going to quit. I will fail only if you tell me that I'm medically in a bad shape. But I will go until I die, or I win. There's only two options: I die or win. And that's kind of thing I think that got reinforced in me. And now when I was in that hole, and actually my buddy, he actually was 30 when he committed suicide. And now I was 30, but it was like 6 years later. And I didn't think about it like, hey, what he did, but I was like, I had a daughter, and she needs something, and I want to be part of her life. That was one of the reasons why I quit military, first of all. So it didn't mean that now I'm in a low spot. It doesn't mean anything. Like I still can make things happen. It's not going to be easy. It's just a matter of starting to move. And I think that experience and listening to Jocko and listening to the successful people in Joe Rogan, because when I retired, I pretty much looked Joe Rogan from episode 1000, I think was it at that time, until I watched the next 400 episodes straight. Everything what came from there. And then I started seeing that there is this pattern. Everyone has had hard times. Everyone has had these really hard situations. And this one is just for me. And I will find a way. And it's not going to be easy, but I just need to start going. And this book kind of helped me just to refine it and give me belief. There was a lot of times when I wasn't sure that this is going to work, but it didn't matter because I knew that I'm not going to quit. And I think one of the major things must have been the suicide of my friend at that moment, which then kind of showed me what quitting looks like.
Yeah, I also think that difficult, like you can tell if people went through difficult times. You can just tell, because they're different. Because they have survived this, and that actually made them stronger. It's not always the case. Sometimes it's too much and they cannot deal with this, but I'm guessing for you it was something that actually made you stronger. And sometimes we need to reach the bottom, the lowest point of our lives, and then something changes, and like mentally we are different people. But I have a question about because we are now in Tartu,
Yep.
in Estonia.
Yes.
How did you manage to establish this relationship with Jocko and actually be on his podcast? I mean, how is a Remo from Tartu ends up on Jocko's podcast and having this relationship?
Yeah, that is a good question, because it was something which I wouldn't anticipate in any realm, and that's something how my life has always been. Like, if someone asked me 2 years from now, like, where are you going to be in 2 years, I would have, if they would have said to me where I actually got in 2 years, like for the past 10 years, I wouldn't have believed any of them. Before conscript service, hey, in 2 years you're going to be Estonian Special Operations. No way. No. Then if I was in the Special Operations, they would say that, hey, you're starting to play poker. No way. Then when I played poker, hey, in 2 years you're going to be selling tanks in the Middle East. No way. I have no experience. And then from there on, hey, you are going to be having a consultancy company and you're going to be consulting, I don't know, leaders in banks, in whatever, ministries. No, not going to happen. And then if someone would have told that, hey, yes, one day you're reading a book, and then like 5 years later you're going to be sitting and being a other partner, I would say that you have like lost your mind. So, but how did we end up in that? I like the idea. There's a book called Outliers, I think, which talks about that you have to have like these 10,000 hours, and then the opportunities will present themselves, and then it's up to you to just realize just to understand that there is an opportunity, and then you just have to go and take it. That was the same thing with the defense industry, because the only reason I got in there was because I had some people who knew me before randomly. I just sent CVs and then figure out that they are there, and then I just went through the interview and they just said, hey, this is what you're going to be doing. I had no understanding, and they told me that they're going to pay me money also for learning. So I saw that as an opportunity which shouldn't have happened with me. So I went all in. So going on from there on, I started seeing that, hey, these things are working. So I started to put together some slides for myself. So just to teach some other people about it. That was the initial idea. I made some accounts in Fiverr, or I don't know, whatever it was, where I kind of thought that, hey, I'm going to produce or put there some, I don't know, going to start consulting someone on time management or something like that. So a very small thing. And then I realized that I'm not going to be able to do it alone any way or form. But I came up with some course already based on this extreme ownership idea. But it was mixed with my previous knowledge of military decision making and other stuff. And then I presented that idea to two of my buddies who were also military guys, but they were in the school learning and they had no time. So all of this just stayed in the under the table or whatever. So nothing happened with it. And then one day Martin called me. He had this customer possible. And then we decided that, okay, let's put together a PowerPoint and let's just speak what we think they should do randomly. We put together a random PowerPoint. We established the company. In 1 month time, there was this course. We went there. There were 7 women. We got high fives, like really cool. And we thought, okay, so this is pretty cool. We stumbled upon it randomly. So what could we do with this? And we thought that there would be a possibility that, hey, let's come up with our own leadership framework, like everyone is doing. Like everyone picks a theory and then makes it their own and says that, hey, I invented it or whatever. And we thought that that's going to be pointless because these dudes have figured out a very good system, which is already like applied in the civilian sector. We have no understanding of anyway how to do this job, so let's contact them. Because why not? I mean, let's take a leap of it. Let's send an email. And that's what we did. We sent an email. We got a reply back from Leif, I think, that they thank you for your service. You're awesome dudes. And here is a link to our newly established Extreme Ownership Academy, right? Just go there and learn. And we understood that, okay, that's not what we wanted. We didn't want to just learn from there. We wanted to be your partners. We want to start doing it over here because we have the same background. We have been instructors and stuff like that. So we knew that we have at least the enabling experiences and skills to do it. We don't know how good we are, but we know that we would be able to at least do something. And then we started sending more emails. We thought that, hey, we need to provide them some value.
The same guy, Leaf, right? You keep sending him emails. Okay.
Exactly. And I think we eventually got like CC'd someone who were put to manage their like customer. So we were one of their customers, so to say. And we thought that we should provide some value. And what we started doing, we started critiquing their academy. Saying what could be improved. And I know we wrote a lot of feedback based on what we thought could be done better. So we thought that if you're going to send them this, then they understand that, hey, we want to actually help them, because they were always saying that, hey, we want feedback, right? And if they are living what's written in a book, they can't get offended, because we are doing exactly what they are saying we should do in a book. We are default aggressive, we are providing value, we are doing all the kind of things. We are not asking anything, we're just providing value. That was our idea. That's how we want to win the relationship. Now, as a retrospect, I know that this is another great strategy to start providing critiques.
But somehow it worked.
Yeah, well, eventually, like we did it for, I don't know, a month or two, and then we realized that this is not working. Because we didn't get any replies back.
So after 2 months of critiquing them, you realize maybe this is not the way.
Yeah, that's not a good way. So no problem. What options do we have, right? And then obviously we were default aggressive in the sense where we thought that, okay, we need to shift, we need to use a different method. And then we thought that, okay, we're gonna fly to US. And we looked up where the next course was going to be. We took a vacation in April for 2 weeks. I took a loan from somewhere, and then we bought the tickets, and we flew there in April. So in the meanwhile, I built up a online site. I built it. It sucked. And it was like putting together like words. It was like a template or whatever. So it wasn't the real homepage, but what I wanted to do there is that I wanted to provide a very simple, clear, concise message that we don't want to do it behind their back. We want to be their partners. And it was Jocko here, Jocko there, Jocko everywhere, like on our page, that, hey, really, we want to represent what they have written, nothing else. And then when we got to Dallas, then we had the FTX, like the field training exercise where you kind of get the laser weapons. And we were one of the participants. There were 35 participants. We were the only ones, I think, from Europe. Everyone else were like US people, business people. And I think it was like either 5th or 6th FTX that they had, a public one. So we got there, and then we met Jocko first on the first evening. There is like this intro stuff. And then pretty much now at the same time, I got this notification from my phone, 10 of them, that someone is looking from Dallas, our homepage, which now it was very clear for me that now they have the information about what is our intent. And so I don't have to like start to kind of explain it to them here. So what we thought we're going to be doing now, we're going to not look needy. And I told Martin, okay, we have now done everything to show that we really want to be their partners. Only thing what we now need to do is just perform on their exercises. We just have to lead during the training. And we thought, based on this book, what they want to see. They don't want to see us screaming. They don't want to see us like letting our ego. We don't want to shine out like we are the best. We have to be humble. We have to be doing the things exactly like we did before. That was our strategy going in there. And then the first day of the training happened. First scenario, I can't remember whatever it was, like go and meet with the village elder or whatever it was. And then we went there. And obviously for us, it was a very natural thing. The only unnatural thing was that there was 33 civilians who had no idea how to do it. It was like a cluster. It was like a really bad situation from the tactical perspective. So what we had to then understand that, okay, it's not about tactics, it's about leadership. And then what we just started to do, we just started to cover and move. We just started to pull the strings. We tried to figure out, we asked for readbacks. We were really just helping and asking questions from the team.
So maybe you can use this example to actually go through all the four
4 laws, right?
laws of
Yeah,
combat.
so the 4 laws of combat, what are used are cover and move, simple, prioritize and execute, and decentralized command. In essence, what it means is that we have to work as a team. We have to create an environment where everyone feels that, okay, I got your back. And what we need to really figure out is that we have really good relationships, because otherwise there will be silos, and if there are silos, you're not going to share what's wrong with you, and I'm not going to share you what's wrong with me. So we have to have established this relationship. So that's the first one. And on the battlefield, it is the main thing what you need to do to survive. Cover and move. That's the first law. That's what everything is all about. Then second is simple. We as humans overcomplicate things. Communication, planning, everything like that. So there is a simple like a tool which is a readback. So only way how to make sure that I was simple, clear, and concise. I just have to ask you, what did you actually understood from myself, right? That's what bartenders use every day. Like they come in you and ask what you want, and then they read back what you got, and that's what military does all the time. So we are able to make sure that, okay, our plan is simple. The team understands. We're cover moving. We're working as a team. There's no silos. There's one goal. Now we understand it. It's simple enough. We have a execution plan. And then when you go out, it's 100% like certain that things will not go according to the plan. Things will go wrong, which means that now you have to start to prioritize and execute, which means that you can't do everything at the same time. You have to choose the most important action, which then provides the biggest amount of impact to the mission. Now, it's easier said than done if you don't have the understanding of what is interfering your decision making. And one of the main things what we have seen and what we have learned from the military and those training is that the biggest things that influence our decision making and what is like blinding us from seeing what the actual priority is our emotions. Our ego, and lack of perspective. And for that, obviously, we have this tool which were teach to us, which is called the detachment. It's you just have to physically take a step back, and that automatically like initiates the relaxation mode. Then if you're relaxed, you look around, everything is much clearer, and then you make a call. So prioritize and execute is the third one, because things will go wrong. You need to make decisions not based on your emotions, but based on the actual situation. So, and the only way how you can do it is when you have a good perspective of what's going on. And then the fourth one is decentralized command, which means that every person in a team has to be leading. You have to be able to empower your team. You have to provide them the intent, the overall direction. You have to have trust. You have to have alignment. You have to understand where we're going and why we're going there and what the end state looks like. And then you let the team come up with the plan so that they could go and execute on the actual mission. And eventually what it does is that's the eventual end goal is to get this decentralized command culture where everyone is actually thinking together. It's not like in the military where, or that's what the perception of military is, that you are getting an order and then everyone just goes and not thinks. No. We want people not to wait for orders. We want them to act even if the order's not coming. We want them to lead up the chain. We want them to lead down the chain, left, right, every direction. Because what if something happens with the leader? Then someone has to do something. And then the main tool how to enable this decentralized command is that you have to explain the why. And the why is the most important word, I think, like ever in general terms. And that why then enables you to actually make much better decisions. And if you don't explain the why to your team or your people, then they will figure out a wrong why.
Yeah. And they will do it.
And they will do it. Or they don't want to do it anymore because they don't understand why we're doing it. Hey, why do we have to expand on that market.
There's no motivation.
Yeah, why we have to have this goal? Why 100,000 is the revenue goal?
Yeah.
Why? Like, why not?
That's the KPI
Why
for
not?
this year. Just do it.
Yeah, so you have to be able to explain not only the big why, but
Mm.
all the whys that people have, because otherwise they will figure it out based on their assumptions. And eventually, that's not going to be good. So we were really, we had a very good understanding of the 4 laws. We named them differently in our military, in our unit. But essentially, we also had decentralized command because when we went to Afghanistan, our purpose was that, hey, go there. And the why was that we need to have very good relationship with Americans. We need to get certified as an organization. And the best way how to do it is with the Americans. And if things go wrong here in Estonia, we better not be in a silo.
Yeah.
We better not be here isolated thinking that we are able to manage it alone, which means that if you want someone to actually help you, you need to build relationships. And that's what we went to do in Afghanistan, to prove to our partners, Americans, that, hey, actually, we can cover you. So that when we are in need of cover, maybe you can come and support us. So the essence of that deployment was to build relationships and have that silo broken down, have a relationship with Americans. Now, that was the why. Now, it was very important that we understand the why, because if we go there and support the locals, and we are really successful in that, but ruin the relationship with Americans, we have failed. So that one understanding that, hey, we have to be diplomats first and soldiers second, gave you the understanding of, okay, how do you make decisions? How do I interact? And it didn't mean that now we didn't care about the locals. No, we had to care about locals as well because we want to look professional. We wanted to do a good job. And the only way how to actually win their trust is to be good at what you do. So it meant that our intent was to build a relationship with the partners, but to do that, we had to be really good at our job, which meant that we had to go there and help the locals. We had to help the locals to get better. We had to help them to solve their problems. So it didn't take away that we had to still perform our duties. But if you didn't know the why, then you can't really make decisions there. So that's pretty much the 4 laws of combat and how they are in order. And that's what everything, the teamwork and the leadership is all around. And we had pretty good understanding of that. And then when we were there, we knew that our why was that we want to become their partners. Which means that, hey, what kind of behaviors you need to do and show to become their partners? We assumed what they wrote in a book, because that's what they've been looking for. That's the behaviors they're looking for. And we were pretty kind of sure that we have the understanding of it. We didn't know that if we are able to present it to them on a level that they wish, because it was still their training. We have never been on that training. So we went there and just tried to do what we knew the best way, however we could. And after the first kind of iteration, we went to Jocko, which we later understood that Jocko, as we started doing the first iteration, Jocko really asked, hey, who are these guys? Because they seem to be knowing something. And then I think JP or someone told him that, hey, yes, these dudes are from Estonia. They went to Afghanistan. They work with Americans and all that kind of stuff. And he said, all right, awesome. And as he said that from that first kind of run, he was sold already. That these dudes are legit, just from the first scenario. And then after the first scenario, or maybe the second one, we just went to Jocko again and said, hey, I know that we have been sending a lot of emails to your team, but really
criticizing you.
Yeah, criticizing you, trying to provide value. And but really what we want is that we really want to do the same stuff. We think that what you've written down is very awesome and simple and applicable. So we would love to do it here in Estonia and then maybe expand over Europe later on, right? And he said, no problem, green light. You got my attention. This is a good
Impossible.
way. And let's go, do it. Do whatever you want, pretty much. And then we came back, and obviously it was our first year. And we had our main jobs. So the first year we had this, I don't know, maybe revenue of 70,000 or something like that. And then as we started to have this conversation, okay, let's become officially partners, right? We got the green light from Jocko. Then we were not having a conversation with him anymore, but with his team, right? Just to figure out how to make it happen. And then there was one session where we went through the numbers. And obviously, like if you look from internet and see how well they are doing and how the leadership and training market is cost structured, there is much more resources than we could ever provide them. So they really had to take a leap of faith in us and think very strategic, very long term, because what is important to Jocko and Leif and their team is US, because that's their home. That's where they want to invest. So we realized that we are not their priority. And we didn't get offended if nothing started to happen. So we tried to push the envelope that we wanted to get the materials and all the kind of other stuff, but it didn't happen because we were not able to provide them really. We were more of a obstacle or time-consuming element that would take the time away from their priorities.
And not generate as much revenue as they can in the US.
Exactly.
Right?
So because we are totally in a different place. So and then what I decided to do that, okay, we are not able to get it official, but at least we have the green light from Jocko, and we just took a leap of faith that's all we need. Only the green light from him, and then we just started doing it more and more and more. And I decided that I'm going to start sending them
some more emails.
quarterly report. I started treating them as our management board. They didn't ask it, obviously, but again, default aggressiveness, and started sending them what we are doing, and also adding their, I don't know, 1 or 2 lines that, hey, if you could, maybe you could, I don't know, mention us somewhere or whatever. Like just this incremental small suggestions or stuff like that. Now, I sent those emails once a quarter for 1.5 years. And really nothing else happened. We sometimes like still, I don't know, did some, we pretty much went to their academy, started learning from there, and then just starting to invent the bicycle. Of okay, because we already been on one training, but we didn't know about any other training. So we just had to figure out okay how we would do it, and then we just started to pretty much teach it the way we understood it. And then the next year, Martin had to go to Europe. Like he moved away from Estonia. So that was the moment where we had decision point. Okay, who's going to take the lead? So I stayed here. I took the CEO role, and then we started to recruit new people. By that time, for whatever reason, we became the best leadership trainers in Estonia. We were chosen by one of the newspapers or the business organizations here who kind of gives out those awards, which was a good thing for us. Then we put down the strategy that, okay, we are going to be starting to take it more seriously. I had more time as well, and eventually we got to have enough money that I could start paying myself money. So I then quit the tank selling job and took full on, I think, from 2023. From the beginning of 2023, or yes, I think so. And then from there on, this year we started just doing trainings and getting on stages and using the same principles. I got myself in all the stages everywhere. Very default aggressive there as well. Just, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. Who are the key stakeholders? And then I went and convinced everyone that we need to be on stage. Like that was the attitude. And then eventually that started to build and build and build. And eventually the new recruit we had, he became the second. Next year, he became the best trainer in Estonia. Which meant that we took a military guy who had no understanding of specifically this. But again, we were able to mentor and show him, and he became the next one, which meant that something what we did works. And the next year we had, I think, a revenue of 350,000 already, which was really awesome for us. And but we still were making money. It was just revenue, a lot of costs and stuff like that. And obviously we had invested previously a lot into this as well. But again, this was a good start for us. We started to have a team. Now I had this opportunity to implement these things on leading the people we have. We had marketers, we had now support team, we had instructors. So I had to start actually leading the actual organization. And then from there on, I think it took us another half a year maybe. And then Echelon Front eventually sent us a reply 2 years since the first contact that, hey, I think that we should now become a partner. Because you have been like doing it and you're clearly getting after it. You have clearly shown the results. So let's make it official. And that was in 2024. It was in end of 2023 when in the last quarter, in the third quarter, I think that in the fourth quarter, let's start talking about it. And let's make it official on January of 2024. Because then we had this event where we were able to go on a stage and just kind of say it out loud. We previously were saying that, hey, we are their partners. Now we could say that we are officially their partners. And we are able to show that Jocko is saying that and stating that. So then we had a really fast collaboration. They provided their numbers, what they would like to get from us. And we said we can't do it. And I provided them the lowest numbers I could afford. And they said yes. There was no negotiation. They just believed in us. And as they didn't have any partners who would be doing that kind of stuff, like outside from themselves, there have been people trying to approach them, but nobody ever reached to this point. And then eventually we pretty much signed the contract between us, and that pretty much opened us from the January of 2024. Now we got access to their, let's say we got access to their Google Drive. And now we had all of their doctrine, all of the work that they have been doing previously available to us. And then we went through a cross-training, we went to US, and eventually we started to they wanted to validate that, hey, we are still speaking the same stuff. And now during the time, eventually, the program lasted like, I don't know, I think 11 months or something like that. Most of it was online. And then eventually it ended up with me doing a keynote to Jocko Willink himself. And then from there on, I got to be part, and then I got to his podcast as well. And then we did that episode. But now how I got to the podcast is that I very early already wanted to be part of the podcast in some way or form, but I was always going that I'm never going to ask it. I'm not going to like ask it. I want it to happen in a way where it kind of got offered from them. Like, because like I don't want to ask any favors, right?
I was thinking that your strategy would be to criticize his podcast, to be on the podcast. But no, you have learned since that day, right? That's interesting. Interesting story.
So my strategy was pretty much that, hey, I'm going to notch this, and I'm looking for the right timing. So first I suggested that, hey, I saw that JP did a podcast, and I saw that Leif had this inspiration stories in the Echelon Front site. So I thought that, hey, we could be, they want to consider us as a inspiration story in some way or form, because we have been doing well and like demonstrating all of that kind of stuff. And then I kind of started to nudge and asked that, hey, we are going to come in US. I went to the muster at some point, and then I told that, hey, maybe we can have a short, as we are already there, maybe I can do a podcast with JP or Leif or someone.
But you didn't mention Jocko, right?
No. It was, no. That would have been a good thing to do. But then eventually I sent that information, and then the muster came, and there was no time, even those guys. Then I know that, okay, next time will be in October, November, whenever the course ends. And obviously the training site was in San Diego. where Jocko lives. And then I think 3 months before, I thought, okay, so I will raise up again that, hey, we didn't do the podcast, which I mentioned before. So what do you think? Is JP or Leif or someone available during that time? Because maybe we can make it happen now. And then the person who handled us, like an awesome lady, she came back that, hey, I think we should do a Jocko podcast. Like, oh, I think we should. And that pretty much eventually got me to start preparing for that. So it took us 2 years to become their partners, and then it took about 1.5 years of asking indirect questions, and then eventually they said that, okay, it makes sense. But it was obviously I knew what I wanted. It was the best thing to do, get in that thing, and then eventually, it was an awesome thing that we became their partners exactly that way, because we had to learn the hard way. We had to figure out the bicycle ourselves. We had to test and trial and do all the things. We were not given anything on a plate, right? And that
Definitely
actually was
not.
really good.
I mean, many years of just struggling.
Yeah.
Most people would give up already.
Yep.
So this is I think what Jocko's team and himself was looking for.
Absolutely.
2 years of just grinding and most people would give up. Like, most people can't wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever weeks.
Yeah.
Like, we recording this podcast now, and many people ask me about why I do it and do I see results of it. I'm like, come on, this takes years. This is a game. You have to have this mindset, because you're not going to achieve anything if you quit after 1 or 2 weeks. I mean, so I think you proved enough that you really want it. And if I may have a question around, because I never met Jocko. I only know him from podcasts and public speaking.
Yeah.
You did. What makes him special?
I think what makes him special is that he really is himself everywhere. And
sounds simple.
Yeah.
But it's not.
And I think he has nothing to prove to anyone. And he holds the military and his experience with the SEALs and the people he has lost on battlefield to the such like high. It's so important to him that I think that these books, what he wrote, I think he wrote it for himself to hold himself accountable in front of the world. Because if he's telling those things in a book, the discipline equals freedom, the extreme ownership, the humility, all the other things what he's doing, this is his standard, what he has pushed outside, and now he can't really do anything but follow what he has written. So what makes him special is that he's really able to live these standards, and he understands that he is not perfect. He understands that if you let your ego go over and beyond, he is going to get humbled. So he rather be humble every day. He understands that discipline equals freedom. He understands that if he's going to start slacking, then eventually the freedom will go away.
Yep.
And he remembers his fallen comrades, and he definitely is carrying a huge burden, as all leaders do. And he is going to represent, and he's living the life what the people he lost can't live. Because the people he lost, they are not here with us anymore. And he is very good in remembering that every day. And I think what he has been doing, been able to do very well is that he has been able to create a environment where every place where he looks reminds him the why, and that kind of is something which holds him on the path, because he can't really fall off of it, because every place, everywhere, it's a reminder.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. Yeah, I was listening to it and I had goosebumps now, because it's he's so true to himself, and also like he doesn't need to pretend anything, right? Because he's just himself all the time. And this one thing that I noticed, that when I look at the videos of him, it feels like it's actually what I feel when I look at you. There was this moment in his life and your life, probably, that the ego was up here. For whatever reason, there was this battle, between you and your ego, and him and his ego. And now, when I look at you, I know you have an ego.
Yep.
And I know he has an ego, but it's humbled. And it's very difficult to explain and describe, but this is what I feel when I look at you and when I look at him, is how do you keep that ego under control? You need that ego to do what you do. But on the other hand, how do you do it? How do you have the ego but stay humble? Like, I cannot describe it any better than this, but this is what I see when I talk to you, or when I look at the podcast.
Yeah,
with
he lets people around him hold him accountable. He understands that if you do not subordinate your ego, if you do not check your ego, you are not able to adapt, you are not able to be self-critical, you are not able to get better, you're not able to win, you're not able to live up to your full potential, you're not able to honor the people you have lost. And it starts from awareness of understanding that that is the case. And then you have to have that ability to detach and just understand that what is the right thing to do. And I think one of his main things is doing the right things for the right reasons. And if you do right things for the right reasons, eventually you will win. And that's something which I think he is constantly thinking, because he must have a lot of lot of opportunities which seem attractive, seem good, and seem, I don't know, whatever. And that's what separates him. Like, he understands that that's just a attraction, and he has trained his brain and his emotional control and ego control to the level where he is actually in control of what is going on in the rational brain. And he has accepted that he's not perfect, but he has some non-negotiables, which he has agreed within his brain, I'm sure. And he has done so much repetition that eventually it's part of your muscle memory. And again, as I said, he has created the environment which holds him accountable, which I think is very important, because you're affected by the people around you a lot. And through that kind of struggle, which he has put himself, he really, the ego kind of loses control. The ego gives up eventually, because the ego gets always smarter. How I think about it is that in my head, my life is it's like an organization. I'm the CEO of my organization. Now, when I have this weekly meeting with my organization, which is me, then there are different departments. There is an ego department, There is an emotions department. There is detachment department. There is a relationship department, like all the departments, financial department. And now you are in control of that meeting. And if you apply the principles of in ownership, you can actually take ownership of your ego. It's just a matter that you have to focus on it. You can't change everything at the same time. You can't get finances in order, the relationship in order. Like there are too many things. And if you just apply the principles which he has written down, which he kind of have summarized, then if you really every day try to follow it and you have your procedure, then you really can't change whatever you want. And clearly, he has been dealing with his own ego so much that he's so aware. He's just smarter than his own ego. And he's able to see through all the strategies and tactics that the ego tries to apply to get you to the wrong path. And surely sometimes it kind of gets there, but his attitude pretty much is that, all right, if your ego is telling that, no, you should, I don't know, like give in to this cake today, then he, like, I'm sure that his, like, initial action, his immediate action drill, which is built into his muscle memory, that he's going to laugh out the ego's message. And then he's going to say, hey, hold my beer, ego. Watch me. I'm not going to eat it. So it's all about the muscle thing. And that's what military does really well. And that's how we prepare soldiers for the war as well. Because you can't be thinking while you are in a firefight. You can't be only focusing on shooting. You have to, like, the shooting should kind of happen automatically, because if you want to be good at shooting, you have to understand how to breathe, you have to understand how to aim, you have to understand how to pull the trigger, you have to understand what is your stance. So there's a lot of things to think about when you want to actually do it. So, but if you were only thinking about those 5 things, then you would be very...
Not gonna shoot right.
No, like you may be shooting perfectly, but the enemy is already moved. They're already maneuvering around you from the left to right. So you have to get those things into your muscle memory. And I like this theory. What I read from poker book. It was a psychology of poker or whatever. And there was this 4 levels of learning, which was that the first level is unconscious incompetence. So you don't know what you don't know. You go to a jiu-jitsu training. You have no idea what you have, like what you don't know how to fight, right? You go there, then as you go through the training, next stage is that you are now consciously incompetent. You consciously know that you don't know how to do the uppercut, how to throw hooks, how to do jabs, how to do triangle, like you don't know. Like now you're aware that you don't know those things. Then the next level is that you can become consciously competent if you now choose one thing, I don't know, uppercut, or you choose to train one specific technique, you can get better at that because you are now concentrating and focusing on it, and that's how you improve. And the last level is that last level is unconscious competence, which is that you are consciously not thinking about this technique, but you are performing it without thinking because you have just drilled it into you. Now, that's how it works on shooting. That's how it works on every skill. And I think, and it is the same way how it works with your brain, and it works with all of the things, emotions, how to get control of emotions. First you have to understand that there are so many things that you are not aware of. So you're unconsciously incompetent in understanding ourselves as human beings. Before this book, I was never thinking about my ego. I was never thinking about how it affects people. I was never thinking about emotions. I was never thinking about the aspects that are actually influencing my decision making. And now if you want to understand it, first step is always get to the second level, which was conscious incompetence. So you have to map out what you are incompetent at. And if you understand that, hey, your ego is taking control, your emotions are away, you have to gather that information. And now if you want to get better in ego control, you just have to focus on that thing and build up a training system which eventually gets you not to think about it so much anymore, so that you have this automatic reaction. And I think that he has such a huge amount of repetition that he has gotten there. But even when you got there, if you don't focus on it, the ego starts to sneak in again and again and again and again and again. And if you take away your, if you don't concentrate on that at all, then eventually the ego will take you over. And I had this idea logic, what I kind of learned from him as well, is that like I never kind of praised myself. I never say that I'm a good leader. I never say that I'm a good teammate. I'm never saying anything or any of those things out loud. And the theory behind that was that if I give a finger, it will eventually take my arm, then it take my body, and eventually I'm an asshole who's going to say that, hey, yeah, I'm the best leader, I'm the blah, 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 blah. And it just takes one small thing. It is extreme to not do that, because internally I know that I'm confident I can do things. There are results, there are people who are saying it, giving me, but I don't have to say it out loud to other people.
Yeah, I think this is something that Michael Jordan said at some point, that if you quit once, it can become your habit, or it will become your habit.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, pretty much. So it's all about training those habits, and I think he has a really good muscle memory on that.
I think.
And it hurts, and it helps to have a good understanding how to control your energy from the pain points of your life, and how to like if you eat sugar, it turns that into carbs, and it turns that into energy. Now, same logic, you can use your scars, your experience in life, that is a sugar, and there is possibility to turn that into energy. And I think he has been able to master like the pain and his suffering and experience and the burden he has figured out how to turn that into calories.
I think every leader should be able to do that, but this is, I think, the ego is the problem. I mean, how can you figure out that, like, the elements that need to be improved within your company, like but now we can translate it to a business, if you have that ego. And this is, as a consultant, I see this very often, that the companies are basically the outcome of the leader's ego, right? But let's say, how would you explain it to a CEO, a leader, that most likely everything that happens within the organization, is related to him having the strong ego or not? And because this is the most difficult battle, if they conquer that, then they are able to look at other elements, at other people, and see the things that they were not allowing them to perform, right? So how this conversation
I
would
would say that I would try to explain it in a way which just kind of connected me, and I don't know if it works or not, but let's see. So Jordan Peterson has this saying, like, weak man is not a good man. Strong man who is capable of violence, but he chooses to not be violent, is a good man. So I think it's the kind of the same thing. Like, you have to have a huge ego to win in life. You have to have it. If you have a really small ego and you have nothing there, I think that's not the optimal solution. That's not good.
You're not going to have expectations from
exactly.
life. Probably,
so you have to have a huge ego to win in life, because you have to be believing a lot of bullshit that you're saying to yourself, which is very unlikely to happen. So, but you have to have that sales guy who's telling you that, hey, you can do it. You can take another step. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Only you can. Nobody else can. You can. Now, if you have a huge ego, now what makes you a good leader, or what makes you very good, is how you are able to handle it. Because if you need people who are really capable in your teams. Now, if you're really capable and have achieved a lot of success, guess you have a huge ego. Now, guess what kind of people you need? You need people with huge egos, because otherwise they wouldn't be successful. Now, the question becomes, if I have huge egos in my team, is leading them with a bigger ego the best version? And the answer is very soon you will find out that it is not, because if egos are clashing each other, it will be just a conflict. And if you're not able to subordinate your ego, it actually stands within a progress, because we are just clashing. We are not doing anything productive. And eventually we can, like, one ego loses and one wins. So, and that's not what we want to do. That's not going to be useful. And if we're going to try to go there and start showing that, hey, I am even more competent than you guys, and this is how we're going to be doing it, and no, listen to me, don't, then we are not helping the team, because ego, as for myself, it is the biggest driver in myself. But now, if we are in a team, I am not the most important thing anymore. In a team is more important than my ego, which means that I have to kind of start massaging the team ego. And because we have a mission, and it is 100% sure that I'm not capable alone to achieve that mission without a team. And now the only way how you can get other huge egos to actually work together is that you have to figure out how to massage their egos. And the answer to that is the opposite of that, which is you have to be humble. You have to be able to subordinate your ego, because you can't kind of fuel your ego, because if you're fueling your ego, there will be only clashes. So what you have to understand, that the same way how you are able to manage your ego, the other people have to be able to manage your ego as well. So it is a trial and error in a way where we can be very clear that if we have those clashes and conflicts, you can very fast see that it's not helping the team to perform together. So, and what war kind of teaches and what military training teaches is that if you have people with huge egos, you have more casualties on the battlefield. And why the training methodology is so good is that when you're simulating combat environments, then the feedback loop is super fast. When you do things right, you get a good result. When you do things wrong, you get a bad result. When you now change something, you actually are able to improve. Like in mathematics, there is right answer, there is wrong answer. If you improve some of the things, then you get better answers. And now the ego shines out, and it's one of the human tendencies. We as individuals want to listen to our own ego. We love our own plans. We think that we are awesome, and that's a good way of thinking. But now if we are part of a community, part of a team, and we send people on the battlefield, either on a training mission or in actual war, it very fast comes out that you're able to see some trends. And now when you're observing it from the detached perspective, without yourself not being in that combat, you can very fast see that if there are human beings who are thinking about only themselves, this is not helping them win on the battlefield.
Right.
And it's very clear. It comes out like crystal clear. And the military, like if you are now want to go to war, then we are very good at, or at least we're trying to learn from the mistakes that the other troops made. And that is just one of the brilliant things what Jocko understood when he observed all of those teams. And he saw that the ego within the team is an enemy. Ego in you is awesome. Ego in you is awesome. Ego in you is awesome individually. But in a group, we can't do things based on what I want. And the ego wants to help you. But now we have to have like this one way, and the best way how to kind of handle and make the team work is to handle your ego. And now, maybe even if you don't know how to do it, you are starting to do and be aware what your ego sounds like at the moment, how it's affecting you. And if you have like these observers, they're able to actually see how it actually is demonstrating, and now you're getting feedback, and now you're able to adjust. And if you go through those environments where there is such a fast feedback, you will start understanding and seeing what happens if you don't let your ego take control. And that eventually kind of provides that understanding that the strong men are men with huge egos, but they are able to have it under control. And if they are alone, then they can let it loose, and it will be a violent thing. And it's kind of like the same idea what Jordan Peterson said, that not having an ego is not a good thing. Having a big ego is what we want, but if you're not able to control it, huge ego is the biggest killer of teamwork.
Right. And then the obvious question: what is ownership? To you, like what does it mean to you?
So to me, in Estonian, the book in Estonia was translated into extreme responsibility.
Okay.
So that's one of the things what it was translated, because Estonian language doesn't have all the words that English has.
Polish doesn't either. You cannot really explain ownership in Polish.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but
so it's like an owner, like of a house, like or owner of a life. You can say that in Estonian here, but it is not relatable to the work environment. It's not relatable to anywhere, because at workplace in Estonia we always say that, hey, people don't take responsibility or whatever. Because and now I did this discussion with ChatGPT, and I wanted ChatGPT to kind of separate four words for me. I wanted it to separate responsibility, accountability, ownership, and extreme ownership. And I wanted to, what are the differences between those four words? So responsibility is something what is given to you. Like, hey, you're responsible for sales. You are responsible for marketing. You are responsible for whatever, running the organization. So that is given responsibility to have. Now, accountability is we agree on a target, and now I'm going to make sure that have you achieved the target or not. I'm holding you accountable for what we agreed on that, in that sense, on that end state of what we agreed. Then ownership, without extreme word in there, is I take ownership with everything within my area of responsibility, and everyone can hold me accountable for the results within my responsibility, in sales, in marketing, in whatever. And now the extreme part is that extreme ownership is, it's not given to you, it's not like controlled by anyone, but what it means is that this is what you can choose to do. Now you can choose to take ownership of everything that affects your world, and what affects our world comes in problems. Like all the things that are around us, they are labeled as problems, which we need to solve as human beings. And now, as problems start to arise in organizations, sometimes the problems doesn't only happen in your area of responsibility. So the problem doesn't only happen in marketing. Like, hey, I have awesome marketing team. We are marketing really awesome. There are a lot of leads coming in, but the sales team, they are struggling with closing because they don't have the right training, they don't have the right resources, they have something wrong with I don't know, whatever it is. And then we have production team, and they are struggling. So it doesn't matter that in my area of responsibility things are awesome, because what happens if the marketing is going to continue doing it, but the sales are not able to actually close any of the deals, and if the the production department is not able to produce anything. So now I have to have some sort of a way how I could influence the other responsibilities, which are not directly under my responsibility. So extreme ownership provides you that opportunity, because everything what you are able to see, you are able to influence. And things you're not able to influence, don't worry about them. But there are so little amount of things that you can't influence. Yes, you can't influence that, hey, your kid got a cancer. You can only influence how you behave, how you react. If the war brings, or the COVID came, right? You can't really do anything about it. It just happened. If the war breaks loose, or if the economy collapses, like there's nothing you could do right now other than choose how you're going to react. And that's what you can take ownership of. You can take ownership of your reaction and what you will do. And now if there is a problem in the marketing or in the sales, and you are you are a subordinate or whoever you are able to take ownership of any problem that you see, because everything around you is like a symptom. And you have to now start understanding, okay, I can actually influence other departments. Now, one thing I could blame my leader, that he's not going to communicating with the head of sales, because there is clearly a problem. Nothing is closed. Everyone knows it. Why don't you do it? Because it's under your responsibility. You are going to the meetings with them. Like, why are not doing anything? But now, if I am seeing it from a subordinate position, I would like to understand, okay, what can I do? Now, taking ownership of a problem doesn't mean that you are capable and you have to be doing everything yourself. It means that you are taking the ownership of the outcome. And most of the outcomes we can dictate. Sometimes to influence the outcome, you need more training. You need more time. You need more management. You need more leadership. You need more whatever. You can influence all of those things. So if there is a problem in another department, I have many options. Maybe nobody knows that there is a problem, what I'm seeing. So I can actually, first of all, address and ask with my leader, hey, have you recognized that it seems to be that in the sales team they're struggling? That could be the first step that you do, how you take ownership. And then say, hey, I have, and we are working on it. There will be a meeting, blah, 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 blah. Oh, cool. And now I know that it's been addressed, right? So, or the answer could be that, hey, I had no idea that those things are happening. Thank you. What are you seeing? Can you explain it more so I can actually go and address it, right? So that's the way how you can actually take ownership. Even if it's not in your responsibility, you can do something about it to make the ball start rolling. You have to be default aggressive in that sense, right? So you're making things happen. Now, it might be that the leader listens to you, and I like that. I have stolen that from Patrick Lencioni, which I love. He has this idea where once out of 10 times you address a problem to the leader, they will listen to you and say, oh, awesome. And they actually act, right? And then 8 out of 10 times they listen to you, but nothing happens. And then once out of 10 times you get fired.
Yes.
And that's the risk what you have to take in life, because sometimes you are in a wrong place. Sometimes you are in a place where you have to stand for your values and your principles, and if they are not met, then you always have the opportunity to take ownership of the situation and just find a new place. So if now 80% of times the leadership don't listen, right? You say that, hey, I see that there is a problem in the other department, there's nothing, and you address it, they say, yeah, we know, but nothing changes. Then what can you do? Then you can actually ask again, hey, so I remember that we had this discussion, like, is there any progress? Because it seems like it's still pretty crazy, and it starts to influence us here as well. Oh yeah, it's okay. It's being taken care of. You see that there's nothing happening. Then you are able to start thinking, okay, what can I do to make this thing better? Maybe I have to build a relationship with someone in the sales team and actually go there and start doing some other routes. So eventually, extreme ownership means that you can become an owner of any problem that you see in your life. That's what the simple thing it is. It's not about responsibility so much. It's not about that you are responsible for life, but in the simplest way, how I try to explain to people is that this is a problem-solving methodology. Like, how do you view problems around you? Do you view them as other people's problems? Or you understand that all the problems you see are your problems, you have to also understand that you can't solve all of them. You have to choose. You can't go against the 4 laws. You still have to prioritize. You still have 24 hours a day. So you can't change all of them. You can't be the solution to every problem, but you can put the ball in motion. You can address things. You can sometimes just ask a question. And sometimes you can just go and actually do it, whatever needs to be done. So this extreme ownership is how you see the world in a way where all the problems are, first of all, solvable, and you are able to influence the outcome if you want.
Right. The way I look at it is that everybody needs to take ownership, because like I'm thinking about like cascading ownership. Like
Yes.
the owner
Overlapping.
the owner has to take ownership for the sales director that he hired. And if it's not performing, he needs to take ownership that he probably haven't done a really good job hiring that person, right? And then that the director should take responsibility for him not being able to perform, right? And then whoever he hires. So if everyone takes ownership, the company has problems, but they're all transparent. You discuss them, you solve them, and then it's done. If nobody takes ownership, that company is going to
I think the main
die.
thing what ownership has given to me is that it gives me control of what's going on in my life.
Right.
I have the power to pretty much grab the hold of the situation and start making things happen, make things move. That's the biggest thing, and that I think that there is a subtle misconception that can very easily turn into that this thing doesn't work, and it can happen in a way where a lot of people think that to apply this and to be successful, everyone in the organization has to take extreme ownership. They don't. It's only for one person. It's only for me. Now, the only reason why I want to take ownership is I want to take control over my life, and I believe that this is a good way how to win in life. Now, if I'm doing it correctly, if I'm actually solving also those problems, it's not about just admitting the mistakes you make. It's also about figuring out what's the solution and making things happen. And if you're able to do that, then the byproduct of you taking ownership is that other people have the opportunity to start taking ownership of their stuff as well. It's not mandatory for them. You can't command it. You can't ask it from them. So if you have a leader who's not taking ownership, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't affect how you can behave. If you have a subordinate who doesn't take ownership, it doesn't matter either. You can command them in whatever way you want, but this is not the effective way of how to do it. So the best way how to influence anyone is really through example. And the only way how you can actually provide a worthwhile standard and an example is actually just concentrating on doing the right things for the right reason. And one of the right things to do is to take ownership of the problems that you think you can influence. And that's, I think, what Jocko has been doing brilliantly, because he is not telling anyone to take ownership. He's like suggesting, he's saying it's what worked for him, but he's not like pushing it on, like he's not like commanding it from anyone. He is the example.
He's the example, yeah.
And that's what makes him so brilliant, because the books, it's his standard. It's his way of thinking.
So people working with him, they are probably following the same standard.
Absolutely.
If they don't, they probably not.
Because if you have a high standard, it is very hard for other people around you to not follow the same standard.
Right.
Because he's not going to tolerate, I know, like human beings they don't have to tolerate aggressive behavior or toxic behavior. They have the possibility to do something about it.
Right.
Now, if I have a team and I have these principles of winning, I'm taking ownership, which means that I care about my team. And if I see someone struggling, I'm not going there and saying that, hey, I think you don't take ownership. You actually go and take ownership of the situation, and you actually want to go and figure out what is the thing that I haven't done that has put you in a situation where you are. Maybe it's been I haven't explained the expectations, I haven't provided the training. So that's where you start from. It doesn't mean that if eventually you have to hold people accountable, because you need to escalate the things, because sometimes we are in a timeline and like you don't have the time to wait on this tactical situation where things are already going nuts, that someone will step up. Sometimes you have to step it up yourself, and then you have to micromanage, for example. But there is a huge difference between being an instructor and a teammate, and that's what I love to emphasize a lot. And that's what I think Jocko is doing brilliantly. Is that instructors' purpose is to talk theory, and we have this concept like 10% theory, 25% demonstration, and 65% practice is how you kind of build the skills. So instructor's job is to provide the theory about how to shoot a weapon, or how to use this methodology, or how to use readback. There is a certain way, what is the right way of doing it. And instructor's job is to tell what's the right way of doing it, demonstrate the right way how it's done, and then allow other people to practice, and then provide feedback straight away when the practice is not going well. So you're going to get this straight feedback, hey, this is not the wrong way, you're holding the weapon wrong.
Right.
You have to breathe, boom. So you're giving these instructions constantly. So, but that's also your purpose, right? That's what you are paid for. That's what you're asked for, so to say. But now, if you take that attitude into your team, you are going to get a bunch of instructors instructing each other. And that's something what people don't need. People need teammates. Now, what does a teammate do? Teammate takes a principle, takes a theory, and they start practicing. If I see that someone is not doing a readback, if I see that someone is not taking ownership, I actually take ownership. If someone is not doing the readback, I do the readback. If someone is not detached, I detach. If someone is not talking about why, I do it. And then through that consistent practice and taking ownership of the problems that you see, you are becoming a demonstrator. You are becoming an example. And now people are actually seeing that, hey, you're doing something differently, because clearly you seem to have a control over things. Things are starting to move in the right direction. Then eventually what happens is that they come and ask that person, hey, could you explain me what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's the moment where you are able to actually speak about the theory, because now someone came and asked you. And that's what the teammates do. So it's opposite. You're not there to teach and be the instructor for your team. Your job is to be the teammate who's actually covering and helping you to move. And that's what Jocko has been able to do. He all of his books, it's a form of sharing a standard how to decentralize command, how to make it happen wherever in the world. And he doesn't have to be here to guide us, because that's what he have already written out. So all he has to do now is on his level to just take ownership of things and make things happen. And through that, he's becoming the demonstrator that he is already. And when someone comes and asks him, he then tells. And now, why Echelon Front started it? Because someone came and asked him, hey, could you come in and speak about leadership to our organization? And then he went, he spoke, because people asked. And then clearly, the same people asked, hey, I want you to speak to everyone. And then that next person heard. And that's how it all got established. So that's why I'm saying that it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. It doesn't matter what your leaders are doing. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. The change of culture starts from you. And you don't have to ask any permission from anyone to start taking ownership of the problems you are facing in your life. And that's all you need to do. And through that, you become the example. And again, here the same idea applies. It's not supposed to be easy, because that's the hard way. Because easy way would be that, hey, I tell you what you do and you do it.
That's what most companies prefer, actually, and they are.
But that's not how freedom works, right? Freedom is not slavery. Freedom is not order. Like it's freedom. Freedom is not commands. Freedom is I choose to help you because we have the same goal.
Yeah, but that's why we don't have very many leaders, but very many managers.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they manage through the Excel file or something.
And I think that the reason is that we don't have many demonstrators. We don't have a lot of we don't have many examples who have been able to actually put it in simple words and then share it.
I think that was a perfect explanation of extreme ownership, and I think that will be it for today. It was an absolute pleasure. I think understanding your story and what you went through also explains why you were able to find all the details and actually implement it in your life, because your life story helped me understand that the ego that you had is still there, but it's under control, and you actually need that ego. And there's all the other elements of extreme ownership. So I think this is it. That was unbelievable. I wish that this could take 3, 4, or 5 hours. I'm pretty sure we would have plenty to talk about. So thank you so much. I hope to see you again here in Tartu or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Maybe in Poland, delivering some workshops.
Sure. Why not?
I would love to be a part of it. So
yeah. So last word from me as well. Like I think that the most important thing is freedom in general terms, and discipline gives the freedom. And what is written in the book and what we kind of give is a leadership discipline, which is simple. It is applicable. And if you really want to provide freedom to your people, if you really want to provide freedom to yourself, then these are the principles that will help you get there. And if freedom is taken away, you have nothing. And that's what decentralized command is all about. Giving the freedom to your team, giving the freedom to your people so they could accomplish their own mission. And definitely this framework and these principles which are forged in war, what Jocko and Leif wrote down, is the best system that I know, and it 100% works. And there are many examples in that. So whoever is interested, definitely
reach out.
Let's reach out. Yeah.
So whoever is interested in having that kind of workshop also in Poland, please reach out. We will make it happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.